What's going on, guys? It's Nightmares, and welcome back to another YouTube video. Well, the thumbnail doesn't really show much, but it's supposed to be what if Deku was the god of lightning. So, let's get into it. So, how this what if would actually happen instead of Deku's dad having a fire being quirk like it is shown, well, stated in the original, Deku's dad will be the god of Thor, the thunder god, the king of swag himself in the skies. So the way that this would happen in Thor will be his father. He would be tricked to leave Asgard by his younger brother Loki, the god of chaos, if you guys don't know. When Thor went out on the planet Earth, he was 9 and he was found by police, and they asked where his family was, and he said, they're in a place called Asgard. Can you take me to them? And they kind of looked at each other and like, I don't know what Asgard is, kid, but I can take you to an orphanage. And he's like, whatever you say. So they took him to the orphanage, and he wasn't immediately adopted by anyone. He was kind of a loner. He just didn't show anyone his powers, didn't talk, and people thought he was kind of weird and crazy because every night he would try to sneak out and try to return to Asgard, but it would never work. But one morning, the Midoriyas, who are a very kind, nice family who just happened to never be able to have children because Thor's adopted mom had I forgot what the disease is called, but you're not able to have kids. I don't know. So, and they love the god they love the young god Thor as a son, but Thor did not immediately love them. Thor wanted to return to Asgard where he belonged, so every night again he would cry out to his father Odin and to his brother Loki, but no response. This was the way for 5 years until he realized he would probably never return to his home in Asgard. But he didn't care anymore. He loved the Midoriyas. He even called them mom and dad for the first time on his birthday, which made the Midoriyas very happy, so happy they even started tearing up. And he decided, after his parents told him that they would love to see him on the big screens saving people, he would want to be a hero. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. When Thor was first adopted, his parents took him to the doctors to find out what his quirk was, but he was indeed called what they called quirkless because he had an extra joint in his pinky. But Thor's parents were very confused because he showed them his lightning a few times by accident. So they just left the doctors because they thought their tests were incorrect. Thor's dad told him, don't listen to him, son. I know you can be a very strong hero, and we know you have a quirk. So Thor, for the first time in months, he was happy. And he really didn't miss his family in Asgard. So this is Thor's new ambition, to become a strong hero. So after middle school, he applied to UA, which was the big hero school in Japan, and Thor got into UA with flying colors, and that is where he met Endeavor and All Might, and they became very good friends / rivals, which caused a very, very big change in the story. Also, Thor and Endeavor and All Might became the big three of their graduating class, and Thor's hero's name was the God of Thunder, but they just called him Thor. And this is where he met Inko. So when Thor was fighting a giant villain, he saved Inko from falling out of the top story of a building by flying. Also, he did get Mjolnir. It dropped down to Earth and he found it. So, yeah. Well, Mjolnir found him, but that's not important. So he flied up and saved Inko. And that's how they really fell in love and they started going on dates. And this is how Deku was born. So let's skip into the point where Deku was born. A huge amount of lightning surrounded his whole body, and All Might and Endeavor were even in the room with them because, like I said, they were very good friends. Excuse me. And like I said, a huge amount of lightning surrounded the baby's whole body, shooting out of his eyes, his mouth, his ears, everywhere, even causing his hair to spike up. So the doctors were very, very confused. But on what this baby's power was and how he was born with such a strong quirk. So they ran some tests on the young demigod, and he was deemed quirkless. But they thought it was an error because they can clearly see the lightning shooting from Deku. It even hit one of them, so they know it's very real. So they did the test again and again and again. But they see that indeed the boy was indeed quirkless. At least that's what they say. So the doctors asked, does anyone in their family have the same medical issue? So that's what they chalked it up to, just a medical mutation in their bloodline. So Inko stepped out and said, yes, my husband has the same disfiguration. And they knew of her husband, Thor, the god of lightning. He was the number one hero. So they ran some tests on him. Excuse me. And they indeed found out that he has the same thing as his son. He was quirkless. So the doctors were happy, overjoyed even, about the new discovery that even people with double joints in their pinky can have a quirk. So they went back and they tried to start testing everyone from then on, even if they didn't, since they had a pinky because of them too. So Thor knew what was going on. It's because just because of him, Deku will not have earthly powers, because Thor is the god of thunder himself. He was not born on Earth. He was born on Asgard, so their powers aren't the same. And they will not like normal humans, so they will be called what humans called people with no powers, quirkless, because they have double joints. But indeed they have powers, but it's godly powers from another universe, basically. So Deku would enter preschool and became very good friends with Bakugo, since they would meet because Mizuku, I think that's what Bakugo's mom's name was, and Inko were very good friends. But also Bakugo and Deku would become very good friends because they would both have very strong quirks and they'd be praised for being very strong. Also, Bakugo would not be as arrogant because he would have Deku to calm him down, since he is still the same Deku. But Deku would also learn a lot from him and he would become more cocky, but not to the extent that Bakugo would. Because he's cocky, but he can back it up. And so can this timeline's Bakugo. Excuse me. So since Bakugo's Deku's friend, he'll be a lot stronger because they would train with the likes of the number one hero, Thor. But Deku would be trained by Thor, Uncle Mike, and Uncle Endeavor, since they would often come around to see how their nephew was going on. And this is where Todoroki and Deku and Bakugo became friends, because Endeavor would come over and spend some time with them three, and they'll leave Todoroki over for Inko to watch. So that's how them three became friends, but he did go to a private school, so he did not see them as much. But whenever his dad would come over to hang with them, he would always have fun hanging with Deku and Bakugo. Excuse me. So Deku was instead so strong, he was destined to be the strongest, if not the strongest ever. So Deku would not meet Uraraka and Ida because he was given a recommendation from his Uncle All Might himself. So, like in the original, Bakugo would be given number 1 in the exam. I apologize if I'm rushing. I'm not trying to do so many time skips, but let's get back to the story. So Deku and Bakugo would walk to Bakugo's house and wait for Bakugo's letter, which are almost positive that he got into UA when Bakugo's mom Mizuki says hi to Deku, and then asks how was the test, you two, and then Mizuki said, Deku, and Bakugo, did you know Todoroki was already gonna be here? So they just saw him playing video games on the couch and like, what's up, guys? And they're like, Todoroki, why are you here? Why weren't you at the exam? He was like, did I not tell you? I got a recommendation from my dad too. And I was like, that's cool. So him, Bakugo, and Deku were on the couch, and Mizuki called up to Deku and was like, Deku, how did you do on your test? And Deku was like, I didn't do it. And she was like, why not? I thought you wanted to go with UA with Todoroki and Bakugo. And Bakugo says he got a recommendation from his uncle. And she was like, who's your uncle? And Bakugo's like, you don't remember All Might? He comes to their house very often with Endeavor. That's how we know Todoroki. She's like, yeah, I know that. I just forgot. And so they got the letter, and he was already, so they were all stoked. They had some sodas in the celebration. So he took the hologram out, and it says, oh, excuse me. I'm trying to sing all my voice. Young Bakugo. Good job. Looks like your Deku and Todoroki's training has been going very good. I wish you and Deku and Todoroki were all in exams, but I did give my nephew and Endeavor did give Todoroki a recommendation. I'm surprised Thor didn't give you one, but I don't really care about that now. But congratulations. You will be joining Todoroki and my nephew in UA. Welcome to your Hero Academia. So Bakugo, Todoroki, and Deku started smiling. So we skip when those three enter the classroom together. And don't get what's wrong, they're not gay. They're just like really good friends. Pause. So when they entered the class, they immediately saw Aizawa sleeping, and they just like, what's going on with him? But he's like, if he's tired enough to sleep in this class, let's just leave him alone. So they just left him alone, and Deku just looked up and he saw Momo, and Momo saw him. And not to be corny, but Deku immediately fell in love with Momo, and Momo couldn't help but realize that she had this quick feelings for Deku, which she didn't know where it came from, but it was like they were destined to be with each other. So they were just staring at each other, and Bakugo and Todoroki were like, I see you, Deku, getting those girls. Are you gonna go out to talk to her, or are you just gonna have a little love stare down? And he was like, oh yeah, thanks. And then so him and Todoroki just started laughing, and then Deku went up to Momo. He was like, hi, my name's Izuku, what's yours? And she was like, my name's Momo, is it Momo Yarozu? I think that's her answer. Yeah, was it Yarozu Momo? I don't really know how those Japanese names be. I don't really care, to be honest. So him and her were just talking until until Eraserhead just stand up and said, "It took you 10 seconds to shut up." But Momo and Deku were still talking like they didn't hear it. Ito's like, "Won't you two shut up back there? We're trying to listen. Don't be disrespectful." And then Deku was like, "Can you give me 1 minute, pretty thing?" I'm just kidding. He was like, "Can you give me 1 minute, Momo? I'll be right back. Don't let anyone take my seat." And she was like, "I won't." Blushing. So he was like, he stood in his face, and the lightning, it was like lightning armor from the third Raikage from Naruto formed around his body. And he was like, "Who are you talking to?" And he's like, "Talking to you." And then he was like, "I don't think you know who you're talking to." And then Eraserhead was like, "Deku? Is that you?" And he was like, "Hey, Eraserhead. I was just letting you sleep because I know that you never get your sleep." And he was like, "Thanks." And he was like, "Do you two know each other?" And Bakugo and Todoroki were like, "Yeah. His dad's the #1 hero, the god of lightning himself, Thor." And they were like, "What?" And Mom was like, "He's just getting better and better." And that is where we're going to be ending part 1. Well, this is really like a part 0. This is really like setting up the events, but giving you guys a little background on what is going to be happening and what is our hero Deku is going to be facing. Hope you guys enjoyed. Watch my Team's Anime Unity video, which is what, and my newest video, which will be on the right. If you guys enjoyed, peace.